Chapter 61. Hunting a Cat. 1. Glory stipulated that a team should have a maximum of 10 people, and teams combined to form a group, with a maximum of 10 teams. Yushio entered the team and looked around. The team was exactly 10 people. He knew most of the members: Lan He, Shou, Deng Huayi, Lei Ming Dian Guang, Tri Noyet Quinton, Van Kui, who were also around at the moment. So they were quite familiar with him, so he started to greet them. There were 3 more people he had never met before: Lu Yunshui, a gunpowder expert; Quan Luwan Zhang, a gunpowder master. Finally, a rather vulgar name, Holy Light Touching Pet, was a priest. These 3 people had been recommended by Lan He and introduced for a while. As for the remaining 20 people in the 2 teams, Lan He did not go on any further. If one wanted to hunt down Blood Archer Aji, one would actually only need a team of 10 people. But this time he brought 30 people. It could be seen that the main content of hunting down the wild map boss was plunder. It could be said that in this battle, Lan Shigu had used all of its talents. These 30 people could all be found in the top rankings of District 10. Yushio glanced at the neat group of people and suddenly said, "I took Tian Cheng's position?" Lan He was stunned. He didn't expect Yushio to be so meticulous that he could even see this. Indeed, Tian Cheng was called by him to prepare to hunt down Blood Archer Aji together, but now he accidentally met Lord Grimm. Lan He felt that this was a reasonable explanation and said frankly and gallantly, "Don't mind him. Let's just do what we need to do." "When did Blood Archer appear?" Yushio asked Lan He. "We received the news 5 minutes ago and immediately called on the brothers who were leveling up to gather here. Another team will be coming later," Lan He said. "Do we need to use that many people?" Yushio laughed. "Even if we wanted to rob the monsters, we actually didn't need to use that many people. When the time came, everyone would be surrounding a target, and many people would have no place to fight. Just to prevent any incidents from happening." Lan He sighed. Yushio knew that this wasn't to prevent the boss's tricks, but to guard against others. The scariest thing in online games is never the NPC, but the players. "We can receive the news. I guess the people from Zhongchao Hall and Maotuba Dao already know," Lan He said. They were 3 big guilds. Other than capturing the dungeon record, they naturally also cared about the wild map boss record. Early in the morning, they had specially reminded players to pay attention to the wild map boss update time when leveling up. "They're here." Yushio shifted his gaze to the left a bit and discovered that not far away, there was also a bunch of people running like crazy, clearly in the same direction as the people from Lan Shigu. "Fuck." Lan He looked over and saw it, carefully distinguishing the vaguely displayed text, "A person from the Central Grass Hall." Yushio worshipped Lan He. He glanced at the ID text above the player's head and saw that it was basically a bunch of colored blocks. Lan He was actually able to recognize every single word in that pile, as expected of longtime rivals. They knew each other too well. When Lan He recognized the other party obviously also recognized the Blue Stream Pavilion. Lan He quickly received a message from the Zhong Grass Hall's District 10 Guild leader Xa Qianzi. "Old Lan, you have some quality. You clearly saw that we arrived first." Both sides knew the location of the Blood Archer. Looking at the advancing positions of the 2 groups, the Central Grass Hall was indeed closer to the boss. The levels were also about the same. The equipment was also the same from the dungeon. The hope of surpassing the Blue Stream Pavilion was not too great. "Go away," Lan He replied. Hunting the wild boss has never had any logic, but this Xa Qianzi likes to babble nonsense. "How many people did you bring?" Xa Qianzi asked. "Just like you," Lamha said. "Let's cooperate?" Xa Qianzi said. "Let's cooperate? What cooperation? Since you and I are both here, I guess Mutuba Dao is just like us. Each side sends out a few people to stop them, then we rely on our own strength to kill the boss. What do you think?" "Okay." Lamha agreed without hesitation. "How many people should we send?" "Half of them." "Okay." Half a minute passed. "Where are your people?" Xa Qianzi asked. "What about your people?" Lamha retorted. "Ready, just waiting for you. My side is also waiting for you." Another half a minute of silence. "Looks like you don't believe me. I'll go find Mutuba Dao to cooperate." Xa Qianzi said. "Go. Actually, I've already finished discussing the matter with Mutuba Dao. I'm lying in ambush waiting for you. Be careful." Lamha sent a message back. Xa Qianzi didn't send another message either. The 2 of them were really at their wits' end. They hadn't known each other for only a day or 2. The 3 big guilds had known each other for many years. They understood each other too well. If they really want to talk about cooperation, they would have to hold back and forth every time, and it would be impossible to continue talking after just a few words of nonsense like just now. Neither of them trusted the other easily. In the past few years, there were plots, obstacles, and struggles, big and small battles. There was no shortage of them. Lam Ki Kak was currently a little slower than Trung Tao Duong, but this little didn't count for anything. Even if Trung Tao Duong arrived first, it was not certain that they would dare to fight as soon as they arrived. What if they were stabbed in the back? Don't look at how close the two of them seemed to be in their correspondence, but when they stood up to fight each other, neither of them would show mercy. The game was like this, both painful and enjoyable. The two groups of people just like that maintained their distance, little by little advancing towards the blood archer. As a result, when they arrived, they saw that there was already a group of people there. The people of the overbearing scheme were even faster than the two of them. However, the overbearing scheme did not make a move. At this time, there was a group of players who didn't know where they were fighting the blood archer, but at a glance, it was clear that they were just passing by and discovered the boss, so they organized a large group to rush forward to try. He looked at it a few times, then said, "Seeking death." Blood Archer AG's entire body was covered in white leather armor. His pale face had no expression. He was obviously an undead creature. Holding revolvers in hand, the movements were extremely fast, running and shooting everywhere. The group of players gathered in a large group were beaten until they cried out loud, unable to resist, coming to kill the boss, but the result was the opposite. They were killed by the boss. The people of the overbearing scheme arrived early, but only stood by silently observing the situation, standing firmly outside the attack range of the blood archer. The people of the Central Grass Hall and the Blue Stream Pavilion arrived later. Their actions were no different from the overbearing scheme. They did not care about the life and death of those people. They did not even bother to look at the blood archer. At this moment, they only paid attention to each other. Seeing the presence of the two guilds, a person quickly stepped out of the ranks of the overbearing scheme, walking towards the Blue Stream Pavilion. Want to negotiate? Lonnie thought to himself. Couldn't help but look over at Zhang Chao Hall. There was no movement over there. Looking at the person's posture, he must have also noticed the person walking towards Lanshi Pavilion. The person gradually came to the front. Lanhi was about to start a conversation, but heard the person who just arrived shout loudly, "Jun Mo Xiao, why are you here?" "Come to watch the excitement." Yu Xiu replied, "The location here isn't very good. Come here, come over here and watch." Who else could be as carefree as a fairy like this, other than Yi Wei Yang? Lanhi almost went crazy. This really didn't take them seriously. What the hell is a bad location? Your ass location. Here is a desolate cemetery. There are only a few dry trees and weeds and broken tombstones and coffins. All the same, how can you tell good from bad? Chapter 62. Hunting down a good too. Isn't it the same everywhere? Yu Xiu's answer seemed a little honest. However, something might happen here in a while, so it's better to avoid it for a while. Yi Wei Yang said. Lonnie suddenly felt nervous. These words were clearly meant for the Lan Shigu. From the expression and analysis, it seemed to imply that the tyrannical scheme in the Central Grass Hall had joined forces, and today the people of the Lan Shigu probably wouldn't be able to capture the boss. Huh? Why did I hear that your side isn't doing very well? Hizhou of the Lan Shigu stood up and said, "Psychological warfare. Anti-psychological warfare. Anti-psychological warfare." The three major guilds normally needed to be this twisted when competing. Lam Ha was very bored with this, because he liked to use stillness to control movement, use the unchanging to respond to change, and leave the complicated matters to others to handle. Huh, is that so? Could it be that the Zhong Chaotang are planning to plot against our two families? Why don't we join forces? Yi Wei Yang said. Joining forces or not joining forces, that was the problem. Lam Ha only felt extremely painful in the balls, and directly sent a message to the leaders of the other two families. What the hell do you want to do? Come all of you. Zhang Chaotang's leader, Xa Qianzi, replied, "I don't want to do anything." The leader of the overbearing scheme, Yidu Han Tan, replied, "Didn't I already send someone over?" The two of them refused to cooperate at all. Lam Ha had a headache. In fact, he really wanted the three families to send representatives and then rely on rock, paper, scissors to decide the winner, but he knew that was impossible. Even if those people agree, they will definitely play dirty tricks in the end. Winning is basically like a man is catching a cicada, waiting to be stabbed in the back. This kind of thing happened countless times, and in the end, whoever won the agreement had to be a little careful. I played you, then you played me. Everyone suddenly realized something. It turned out that any agreement was as good as nothing. So why waste it at that time? The three major guilds paid great attention to their external image. A word was worth 9 pins, and honor was the greatest. But when the three guilds were competing, all kinds of shameless tricks would be used. What was trust and commitment, and whether they could be eaten? Simply put, when the three guilds were competing, what everyone really cared about was profit. Even if everyone relied on lethality to decide victory or defeat, Lamha did not dare to believe such a method. He only believed that the side that fell behind would definitely resort to swindling. He only knew that every time they hunted down a wild boss, countless people would die. In a flash, Lamha suddenly remembered the dungeon. Compared to hunting down a wild boss, even if it was a more difficult dungeon, it was still warmer. There was never any sincere cooperation, only mutual exploration and defense. This was the relationship between the three major guilds. Seeing Yue Yang still nagging, He was ready to draw his sword. Actually, when he went to talk to the two guild leaders just now, they didn't have any good intentions. After all, neither of them was afraid of losing face. The two of them actually dared to come over and directly attack. The other two didn't come over, only Yue Yang was here to talk nonsense. He felt that it would be better to kill them all. After all, the relationship between everyone was too clear. As a result, he suddenly heard Yu Xiu say, "Isn't that person Chan Cheng?" He was stunned when he heard that. He looked over. A person was stepping on a flickering magic circle under his feet, holding a battle club in his hand, rushing to the scene without saying a word and went to beat the boss. He didn't bother to care about that person anymore. This person was an expert in disorganization and undiscipline. I'll go help that person. He didn't expect that Lord Grimm would suddenly leave behind such a sentence and also rush over. This was also someone he wanted to control but couldn't. Hey, why did you run away? I haven't finished talking yet. Yue Yang was still shouting. He suddenly drew his sword and slashed that person's head with a drawing knife slash. Unexpectedly, Yue Yang had already been on guard against him, and immediately jumped back to avoid this sword strike. The great guild leader is actually playing a sneak attack. Yue Yang sneered. He made a move, and a few people nearby immediately rushed forward to make a move, but Yue Yang had already run away, and someone from Mao Tu Ba Dao immediately came forward, and the people from Lan Shigu immediately returned. They also didn't think that they wanted to cause a conflict with Mao Tu Ba Dao, and Zhong Chaotang was still standing there. The three major guilds restrained each other, fighting together, so they didn't dare to act rashly, and more players were dying while fighting with the boss. Originally, the team had 10 people, but now there were only 5 left, and half of them were dead. Why are you just standing there and watching? Hurry up and kill the other one. After Lord Grimm approached, Yu Xiu heard the 5 people shouting. Obviously, they had completely refused to investigate the situation and did not know about the current chaos of the 3 major guilds. But no matter how chaotic the 3 major guilds were, the fate of the 5 of them was only one: tragedy. If they could not kill Blood Archer, they would definitely die. If they could kill Blood Archer, they would also definitely die. The 3 major guilds did not attack them, precisely because they were currently in the first category and fundamentally did not have the ability to deal with Blood Archer. Yet in the team, at this moment, one of the 5 people shouted to Tian Qing on the other side. Tian Qing was the 6th person in the battle. Rushing into the middle of the battle, the other party immediately sent a team invitation. This guy didn't even bother to pay attention. Add me to the team. After Lord Grimm rushed in front, Yu Xiu shouted and quickly left Lan He's team. What does he want to do? Lan He was a little confused. Lord Grimm rushing in already made him confused. Suddenly leaving the team, at first glance wanting to join that scum team also made him confused. If Lord Grimm fights the boss, then do we rob the boss? Yu Xiu suddenly said such a sentence. Lan He was stunned. Could it be that this person wanted to take advantage of the great guild's esteem for him, not to fight for the boss with him? This idea was a little childish. The 3 great guilds indeed valued him very much. Many places were willing to make concessions for him. However, this was a situation where the initiative belonged to the 3 great guilds. But now, he took the initiative to take advantage of the psychology of these 3 families, forcing the 3 big guilds to give in. At that time it was a different story. No one was willing to be bullied like that, let alone those 3 big guys. On the surface, he was modest and careful in recruiting talented people. But like you actually went around scheming with others. Who could stand it? Tian Qing ran everywhere looking for opportunities. The other 5 players were basically also chased and beaten by Blood Archer. As soon as Jun Imo Xiao joined the battle, the situation immediately changed. Blood Archer moved very quickly, yet he could still accurately grasp his position like before. Using a move of Heavenly Strike, Blood Archer was hooked up. That was Tianqing joining for half a day and still couldn't attack smoothly. Attacked Falling Flowers. Blood Archer rolled on the ground. This was the wild map boss, even more powerful than the hidden dungeon boss. The Heavenly Strike was fundamentally unable to hang the monster up that high, changing the operator. Whether this Falling Flower Palm move could complete the aerial pursuit was already a problem. Under the situation of aerial pursuit, the fanning effect increased. The higher the altitude, the greater the effect. Blood Archer could also be hung up at such a high height. The flying effect of this move of Lord Grimm could be considered to be at its limit. The silhouette flashed. In the middle of the battle, 2 Lord Grimm suddenly appeared, one in the same place. The other rushed to the back of Blood Archer. The clone. The person who rushed to the back was naturally a fake, at this moment grabbing Blood Archer and throwing him out. Judo skill. Throw. Blood Archer was directly thrown away again. The people of Zhong Chaotang suddenly started to make noise. Why was Blood Archer getting closer and closer to them? Chapter 63, Hunting and Killing Ugo 3. Blood Archer's hatred naturally couldn't be transferred to the players of Zhong Chaotang. In fact, until now it still hadn't suffered any powerful attacks. At this moment, being hit by Lord Grimm with 3 moves of Heavenly Strike, Falling Flower, and then throwing, the hatred towards Lord Grimm was about to explode. After being thrown to the ground, he didn't fall down at all, and with a body roll, he stood up straight on the spot. This skill is called Bear Body. Both are common passive skills like fast run and roll of the players. After learning it, you can use it. The way to use it is when you are about to fall and hit the ground, use body roll in an instant. Like that, the character won't fall to the ground but directly roll to stand up. To use this move requires a certain level of technique. You have to fall in the direction. In the moment you are about to hit the ground, perform body roll to be able to perform Bear Body. Furthermore, there were still some skills that the body bearing had no effect on, for example, the Battle Mage's Staff, the Judo's Knockdown, the Marksman's Kick, were all skills that the body bearing had no effect on. The Blood Archer would also have body bearing, but there was also a chance of it being used. At this moment, after receiving 3 attacks from Lord Grimm, it directly rolled on the ground and stood up, raising its gun to prepare to shoot. A gunshot rang out, and only the Blood Archer's right hand holding the gun was seen swinging back, sparks flying out from the muzzle, and a second gunshot rang out. Fuck. Someone in the Zhongsao Hall cried out in fear, and quickly squatted down. This gun grazed his scalp, and as a result, he heard a second fuck from behind him. The next player didn't have time to dodge, and the gun hit him in the middle of the back of the head, spurting out a stream of blood and retreating several steps, his life dropping by half. The priest of Zhongchao Hall hurriedly stepped forward to help. At that time, no one could react in time as to why the Blood Archer could suddenly turn around and shoot them like this. But from the perspective of Lanchi Pavilion, everyone saw everything clearly. Just now, after Lord Grimm threw the Blood Archer, he somehow dug out a rifle from somewhere. The first shot that rang out was not from the Blood Archer, but from Lord Grimm. This gun hit the Blood Archer's right hand, causing the Blood Archer's shot to swing backwards. Was this a coincidence? Or was it intentional? The entire Lanchi Pavilion did not know. They only knew that this gun used offense as defense. While shooting the Blood Archer, it also broke the Blood Archer's ability to return fire. As for the Blood Archer's shot swinging backwards and hitting the head of the Zhongchao Hall player, it must have been a coincidence. However, this coincidence made the people of Lanchi Pavilion extremely happy. What exactly does he want to do? When everyone was laughing at the Zhongsao Hall's people who were shot by the Blood Archer, he frowned because he couldn't see through Lord Grimm's intentions. Do you really want to control the Blood Archer in the air forever? Wading Ye also whispered. The two of them walked towards Lan He. Fuck, Yuan Wukuan in the air. So amazing. As soon as the two of them arrived, they heard Lan He's exclamation of admiration. The two of them had black lines all over their heads. Was this the time to immerse themselves in each other's operations? After awakening Lan He, when Lan He encountered this problem, he was also extremely helpless. If the other guilds don't move, how can we move? Hizhou was stunned. Could it be that what this guy wants to take advantage of is the mutual restraint between our 3 guilds, not the fact that we're afraid to compete with him? Hizhou said. Lan He looked at Zhong Chaotang on the left, then at Mu Tu Ba Dao on the right. He saw the two guild leaders of the other guilds were strangely turning left and right, clearly observing the actions of the other two guilds like him. Sure enough, at this time, none of the three big guilds dared to step forward. Because stepping forward was like a man is catching a cicada, and behind him was an extremely large sparrow. No, there were two of them. Hey, Lon, he discovered that this deadlock was really worrying. He hurriedly sent a message to Zhong Chaotang and Mu Tu Badao. You two, are we just going to watch the boss get knocked down like this? Old Lon, have you learned to be sinister? Xa Qianzi replied. No, why don't you guys hurry up and take the boss back, and our Mu Tu Badao will stand outside the formation to rescue you guys. You do, Han Tan of the overbearing scheme replied. Lonnie did not say anything. Zhong Chaotang and overbearing scheme clearly did not believe him. The important factor that influenced the decision of these two families was they did not understand Jun Mo Zhao's true strength. They did not believe Jun Mo Zhao could completely destroy the Blood Archer. However, even Lan He, thinking calmly at this moment, understood that this was an extremely difficult matter. Although he had once broken the dungeon record with Jun Mo Zhao and knew Jun Mo Zhao's true strength with his own eyes, although Lord Grimm currently relies on his excellent technique to rotate Blood Archer, no one can solo Blood Archer at his current level, even if there is a top professional expert, because mana definitely cannot keep up. Comparing Blood Archer's health with the damage-dealing ability of players at his current level, it is absolutely impossible to defeat Blood Archer in a state of reduced mana. Even if he has a full potion bottle on him, it is still impossible. Looking at Lord Grimm's current high-tempo attack method, the beginner village's primary potion bottle basically cannot increase in time. Without mana, one cannot use skills. Without skills, relying only on normal attacks will absolutely not be able to do anything to the boss. Skills compared to normal attacks, except for the stronger power, more importantly, many moves can control the formation. Like hanging in the air with the high efficiency of the Heavenly Strike, the short-term freezing of the Dragon Tooth, the blowing away of the falling flower palm, Yuan Wukuan considered the effect of the bare body to be ineffective and threw the person to the ground. These special effects were something that normal attacks did not have, and the effects of these all had a certain control effect on the opponent. Thinking of this, Lonnie suddenly felt relieved. Were Zhong Chaotang and Mao Tu Ba Dao really the more important opponents right now? He couldn't help but glance left and right again. The 5 normal players who were surrounded inside continued to be treated like dead people. Lonnie didn't even think that Lord Grimm's rushing in to gather had anything to do with that group. When Lord Grimm left the team, when he had no way to stop him, he only called Tian Qing to join the team. In his eyes, the existence of these 5 people was still there, perhaps only Yu Xiu. Under the continuous attack, doing something that the other group of 5 people could not do at all, after surprising everyone with their eyes wide open, Yu Xiu suddenly let Lord Grimm use a move called Yuan Wushang, throwing the Blood Archer down in the middle of the 5 people. Still standing there watching? Attack! Yu Xiu shouted. The 5 people seemed to have woken up from a dream, immediately drawing their weapons and charging forward. Don't fight recklessly, listen to my command. Yu Xiu shouted loudly. Jun Ma Xiao's attacks were still relentless. The 5 naive people finally discovered something at this moment. Jun Ma Xiao. This person is Jun Ma Xiao. Those who paid attention to Jun Ma Xiao were not only the 3 big guilds, just like the players at Happy Internet Cafe when they saw Jun Ma Xiao's famous name, they were also very surprised. The 5 people were only busy inviting Jun Ma Xiao to join their team, then they stood and watched Jun Ma Xiao fight with that Blood Archer, but only now did they notice the ID above Jun Ma Xiao's head. It was Jun Ma Xiao who had completed the 3 times of taking over the head. It was Jun Ma Xiao who had led the Blue Stream Pavilion to renew the record for the Frost Forest instance. Cross/Berserk. When Jun Ma Xiao's Dragon Fang move just touched the Blood Archer, Yu Xiu shouted. The Berserker's reaction was not slow at all, immediately slashing out the heavy sword in his hand. 2 swoosh slashes hit the body. The Blood Archer who was hit was temporarily frozen and unable to dodge. The tip of the sword carved a cross mark. A cross-shaped stream of blood splattered out. Ruffian throws sand. The moment Yu Xiu shouted this, a heavenly strike suspended the Blood Archer in a small space. Chapter 64. Hunting and Killing a Sand 4. The rogue is a profession that belongs to the wrestling system, and most of its skills are low-class tricks that street thugs often use. For example, the current sand throwing is a despicable move of throwing sand to dirty other people's things. At this moment, the rogue heard Yu Xiu's summoning and immediately took out sand and threw it at Blood Archer. Yu Xiu was sweating. not expecting that person to be a genuine newcomer, and quickly reminded him, "Throw the frozen sand and then throw it again. Throw it right at his face." That is the true meaning of sand throwing. The hidden effect of sand throwing is that when thrown into the target's eyes, there is a chance to cause the opponent to fall into a blind state. Because it is a hidden effect, the blindness rate and duration do not have an exact value, but through the measurement and determination of the player, throwing the stone at the lowest level already has a blindness rate of 50%, which can last for 4 seconds. But when the skill points are increased to the maximum, this rate can be 100% and last for 8 seconds. This effect is really terrifying. In the early days of Glory, the gangsters all relied on a handful of sand to build the world, and when they met someone they didn't like, they would throw sand at their faces. Being blinded, the player's screen would be pitch black, unable to see anything. The gangsters would take this opportunity to jump in and fight, extremely despicable and low class. However, at present, many players have also found many ways to deal with the meaning of this sand-throwing move. It's extremely simple. When being sand-throwed, move the viewing angle. Up, down, left, right, whatever. Although sand throw also caused some damage when dirtying clothes, but compared to that terrifying hidden effect, everyone could withstand that little damage. However, the thing that was even more invincible when dealing with sand throw was a piece of jewelry, glasses. This tool and the mithril metal that Yushio had in front of him both had no attributes. They were genuine jewelry. But jewelry like glasses could make sand throw's effect only fleeting. The thing that the rogue players in Glory hated the most was nothing other than glasses. Fortunately, the NPCs weren't so shameless as to wear glasses pretending to be intellectuals. Falling into the blind state, the NPC would lose his direction, unable to find the original target of hatred, being bullied by the player to the point of having no way to fight back. Yushio's purpose was of course to let that rogue player try to blind him, but who would have thought that this brat was too immature, but throwing it at Blood Archer, who knew how that level 23 player would train to be even higher. It was even 2 levels higher than him. Brick Attack. Yushio continued to patiently command that rogue. Brick Attack was the scientific name of the system. Yushio was afraid that this immature new player wouldn't know the vulgar name, so he called out the standard name of the skill. Actually, between players, this skill was called Brick. That's right. It was something that was everywhere in the world, and was considered a sharp weapon when fighting on the street. Brick. In Glory, the rogue's brick could hit people, could be thrown hard. How majestic. In addition, this skill also had a special effect, with a 50% chance of stunning the target for 3 seconds. However, if you want to cause this effect, you have to hit the opponent's head. On the other hand, the brick also has a hidden effect, which is that when the brick hits the head, it will attack the back. The chance of stunning will be 100%. The duration will be 4 seconds. Yushio here really didn't have time to explain in detail to that hooligan, but fortunately, hitting the head with a brick will cause stun. This effect is not hidden. It is also clearly stated in the skill. That hooligan player obviously noticed this point. That brick was indeed heading towards Blood Archer's head. However, unfortunately, the brick left his hand and went out. It was a strong throw. Throwing a brick reduces the damage by half. The chance of stunning is reduced by half. The stun effect is reduced by half. And that brick also flew sideways. Idiot, take the brick and hit it on the back of the head. Someone else gave instructions on Yushio's behalf. The meaning behind the brick had never been a secret. The rogue ghost quickly answered honestly. Yes, yes. Flame shock. Yushio summoned the elemental mage. A column of fire erupted. Yushio nodded in satisfaction, finally not as immature as that hooligan. However, facing the boss Blood Archer, the floating range of the fiery flame shock was really small, but Yushio had already controlled Lord Grimm to attack early. Mountain Shattering Strike. Ghost Sword releases Soul Saber. Throw Sand. Fire Flame. Ghost Slash. Yushio gave concise and fluent commands. The 5 players who were originally acting as corpses suddenly realized, was it really that simple to deal with the Blood Archer? The Blood Archer that they had tried their best to defeat in the beginning was now really like a sandbag. Sword slashed, brick smashed, spells thrown, every move hit. The 5 people who were considered experienced could see that this was all the result of Lord Grimm's coordination in the middle. This person would use his attacks to control the Blood Archer within their attack range, and the skills he released according to the command would also become control points for the next attacker, thus supporting each other in a circular manner. Following this perfect rhythm to comfortably beat the Blood Archer. The Blood Archer was not without any fighting power, but its counterattack target was always Lord Grimm, and Yushio had seen through its pattern, avoiding each attack perfectly and not even affecting his teammates in the slightest. A group of 5 people that were originally considered corpses, in the blink of an eye, was put together by Yushio into a well-coordinated team. The 5 people were really comfortable with their moves, but Yushio did not relax at all. He knew that no matter if his operations were the slightest bit wrong or if just one command was inaccurate, it would immediately be a different situation. The players from the 3 major guilds were standing in different groups at this moment. All of them were in a daze. Each guild heroically led a team of more than 10 people. In the situation of continuous reinforcements, they only stood and watched a team of 6 people gather to hunt down the boss without daring to move forward. The whole group uneasily looked around. No matter how they looked at it, they looked like brain-dead people. "Look, that's the commander I want to see," Yue Yang of the Overbearing Scheme shouted. "Is this the time to be excited?" Guild leader Yidu Haunt and had black lines flowing. "This Junimo Xiao, unexpectedly he's so terrifying." Zhang Chaotang had only been interested until now, and was still examining Junimo Xiao. Now they finally saw Junimo Xiao's true strength clearly. Guild leader Shi Qianzi's eyes widened and his mouth opened. At this rate, Blood Archer will really be killed by that guy. On the Lanqigu side, Hua Dingyi also shouted loudly to Lanhe. Thus the 3 guild leaders started to move around strangely, turning here and there, watching the reactions of the other 2 houses. Without saying anything, everyone clearly understood what they should do now. Deal with the others. Don't touch Junimo Xiao. If those guys attack Junimo Xiao, you must support them. Lanhe ordered. Support who? Someone asked in confusion. Nonsense. Should we support those 2 damn guilds? Lanhe said. Everyone understood. Which team has a vacancy? Invite Junimo Xiao in immediately. Lanhe said. Everyone had a tragic expression on their face. Of course there was no vacancy now, but there would be in a while, because of course there would be people who failed. Once they failed, they would return to the town where they registered their household, automatically leaving the team. The people from the 3 major guilds almost started to act at the same time. Clubsuit, 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 Clubsuit. Chapter 65. Hunting Aji, 5. "Oh, those people want to come help," the rogue player suddenly said, his voice still carrying surprise. Yushio sighed. This guy really didn't know the situation at all. How could these guilds come to help? They came to rob monsters. He had been standing still before, but he saw that a bunch of them weren't worth robbing. Blood Archer could just kill them. "Run," Yushio said in a deep voice. "What?" That rogue didn't understand. Actually, the other 4 players were also new players. If they weren't new players, they would know how formidable Blood Archer was, and wouldn't gather together to die. It was just that this group of people weren't as stupid as that rogue player. At least they sensed that something was wrong. Those guys didn't move before, and didn't move after, but seeing them defeating the boss smoothly, they suddenly moved. Support? Helping people in times of trouble is called support. In this situation, who knows what it's for? Don't run and wait to die. Yushio said. Are we just going to fight? The berserker in the team said. He could see that something was wrong, but if he ran now, why did he fight so hard before? We still don't know. Yushio said. The 5 people were all confused. If we don't run, we'll be too late. As Yushio spoke, Lord Grimm continued to attack. The people from the 3 major guilds quickly approached, and the ranged classes like archers had already started to raise their guns and aim. Run. Finally, someone among the 5 people took the lead, turning around and running. The 3 major guilds didn't take these people seriously, and the 3 were still on guard against each other, so they didn't surround them. When they saw the 5 people wanting to run, they didn't immediately send people to chase and kill them, but only evaluated the movements of the other guilds, which were their main opponents. The 3 guild leaders could barely tell who was ahead and who was behind, so they shouted, "Stop." Nearly 100 people hurriedly braked, looking at each other with big and small eyes. Blood Archer was almost right in front of them, but now that they were charging forward to surround the boss, what should they do if the other guilds attacked from behind? The 3 guild leaders were almost all thinking the same thing, because the civil war was still going on. The 5 players ran for a while before they suddenly realized that Lord Grimm wasn't running with them. They turned around and saw that Lord Grimm was still fighting Blood Archer. What does this guy mean? The 5 people didn't understand. They weren't very good at the game, not that they didn't have brains. This guy told them to run, but he stayed behind. His actions were strange, making them not know if it was good or bad. So they all stopped. Run a little further away, it's dangerous here. Yushio suddenly sent a message on the team channel. But they're not here to kill us. The rookie hooligan said. Trust me. Yushio only typed 2 words this time. These newbies really had no eyes. If it was a player at Lanhe's level, they would definitely be wide-eyed and open-mouthed right now. A solo blood archer with such an intense tempo, and still had time to type, how fast must his hand speed be? That rookie hooligan couldn't help but start running away, even saying to his teammates, run. The other 4 people were a bit hesitant. 2 of them ran after that rookie hooligan. The other 2 people were still standing in place. They were still half believing and half doubting what Yushio said. They felt that this person intentionally wanted to eliminate them. Yushio saw the different actions of the 5. He could only express regret at the doubts of the other 2. He didn't have time to explain. His mouth had been commanding all this time. He also didn't have time to type. The 2 sentences just now were all typed out by risking an explosion of hand speed. Those 8 words almost slowed down the operation. Should the ranged classes try to attack first? At this time, Lanhe asked for the opinions of his subordinates, telling them to stop advancing and let the ranged classes rob the damage points first. Then we can't guarantee that we won't accidentally injure Lord Grimm. The ranged classes were sweating. Blood Archer was strong in speed. If they wanted to fight him, they had to move at a fast pace. At this time, Lord Grimm and Blood Archer were both moving rapidly, who knew who their attacks would hit. What the hell is this guy doing? Lanhe was upset. Zhang Chaotang's XHNZ also stepped out and shouted, This hero, let your team join our team. All the things that drop belong to you guys. Fuck. Lanhe secretly cursed XHNZ for being deceitful. The team can join the team. The previous damage is all counted as the team. Why didn't I think of it? Big brother Mo Xiao at me. The other things are fine. Lanhe hurriedly stepped forward. He felt that he was a little closer to Lord Mo Xiao. The conditions were the same. Lord Mo Xiao had no reason not to join them. Come to our side. Your reward even includes 20 white wolf furs. Yue Yang from the overbearing scheme also spoke up to make his pitch. It turned out that he had always thought that Yushio had a special passion for wolf fur. Big brother Mo Xiao, don't believe him. You've only played the Ice Frost instance a few times. How could you possibly have 20 white wolf furs? Lanhe shouted. We also have 20 here. XHNZ also shouted. Hisho standing next to him wondered, could this be this person's real goal? Lanhe also had a headache. This guy really is, completely not discussing feelings with anyone, must turn everything into a business? Jun Mo Xiao was still indifferent to fighting monsters, so the 3 guilds all felt that this price list was not enough, and continued to raise the price. The 2 players who did not run away at this time also widened their eyes. Just that the things that are dropped belong to you guys alone was enough to make their hearts beat fast. What the 3 guilds promised after that seemed to be things that they had never even heard of, but dared to offer, obviously very valuable. The other 2 were really anxious. They wished they could agree on Jun Mo Xiao's behalf. But the 2 of them quickly realized. In this matter, Jun Mo Xiao's agreement was useless, because their team leader was not Jun Mo Xiao. Accepting to join the group or asking to join the group, that was the authority of the team leader. The 2 of them hurriedly opened a team list. The team leader was that rookie hooligan. The 2 of them hurriedly shouted on the team channel, Hurry back. Why don't you 2 run? The rookie hooligan replied, Run my ass. Those guilds over here are setting conditions to let our team join the group. All the equipment dropped will be given to us, and there are also many valuable gifts. Team leader quickly come back. The 2 of them were so excited that they were talking nonsense, competing to send messages. There's such good news. That rookie hooligan didn't know anything. As soon as he heard about the equipment, his eyes sparkled. He hurriedly ran back. The other 2 friends who saw the news in the team were also excited. Only Lord Grimm was indifferent. The 3 guild leaders all rushed to invite him to join the group. But when they saw the system's notification, they slapped their heads and reacted in time. Fuck. He's not even the captain. It couldn't be helped. Those 5 people were really too invisible. Where did the captain run off to? The guild leaders of the 3 guilds began to care about the person who had never entered their eyes. At this moment, Lord Grimm suddenly opened his mouth. Everyone pay attention. What? Everyone was confused. They only saw Lord Grimm use the feather staff to knock down the blood archer, and the blood archer's body suddenly emitted a blood-colored light, and he gathered all his strength to let out a strange and miserable roar. Fuck? He's going berserk? The 3 guild leaders were all veterans, knowledgeable and understanding. Are you kidding me? How much blood is there? 100 people were all terrified. Chapter 66. Core of the Undead. When the blood drops to 10%, it will be red blood. When the boss is covered in red blood, it will go berserk. This is an unchanging rule in Glory. Under the watchful eyes of many Glory veterans, how could they let a team reduce the blood of the Blood Archer to 10% red blood? However, the Blood Archer is not red blood, yet he still enters a berserk state at this time. As a group of veterans, they clearly know what kind of ultimate move the Blood Archer will have when entering a berserk state. If the one fighting the monster was them, they would definitely be prepared before the blood turns red and goes berserk. But who would have thought that the Blood Archer would suddenly go berserk like this? Red blood is not the only condition for berserk to occur, Hijo suddenly said. Lonnie's expression changed. That's right, with some boss, other than the red blood state, there are still many ways to make the boss go berserk. Berserk, to put it bluntly, refers to the moment when a boss saves itself when in danger. This high-level wild map boss like Blood Archer not only goes red blood when in danger, but also has other conditions that make it feel the need to go berserk to resolve the crisis. 200 consecutive hits. Lonnie blurted out. It was too late to notice this point now. From the moment Blood Archer started roaring with a red light, everything was too late. Everyone felt their feet starting to become light. The ground everywhere started to crack. The tombstones tilted, and the broken coffins gradually moved, as if they were awakening. Blood Archer's berserk was to summon its undead army. The number of summons was calculated based on the number of players entering its hateful range. This moment was extremely tragic. The 3 guild leaders were all within the range of Blood Archer's hatred. They were still inviting Lord Grimm to join the team. The 3 of them represented not one person. They were the team leaders. Each of them implied that all the guild members were present here. If according to the normal process of fighting Blood Archer, before the red blood, the team leader would definitely be the first to leave the range of Blood Archer's hatred. Over the years, the 3 guilds had relied on this fixed rule to secretly play against each other countless times. They were already too familiar with this great move of Blood Archer. Ha 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 ha. Blood Archer's voice continued to ring out. A group of zombies and skeletons crawled out from the mud, jumped out from the tombstone, and crawled out of the coffin. There were more than 100 of them. Maintain the formation. Protect the healers and mages. The 3 guild leaders gave almost identical orders. The newly summoned undead army did not follow the hatred of the Blood Archer, and renewed their hatred once more. They were the type that killed people when they saw them, and attacked whoever was nearby. In the blink of an eye, a great battle of over 100 people was taking place within the Bone Maiden land. The zombies and skeletons summoned by the Blood Archer were not more powerful than the ordinary monsters of the Bone Maiden land. But the problem was their high rank. They and Blood Archer are both 26, the highest level in Maikat Chijia, both suppressing the level of all the players here, making it not easy for the players to deal with them. Moreover, they appeared suddenly, randomly distributed, making everyone unable to guard against them. All 3 major guilds had people surrounded, instantly dead. The expressions of the 3 guild leaders were not good. They knew that this must be Lord Grimm intentionally launching a 200 consecutive attack. The consecutive attack statistics are not calculated based on the number of attacks, but on the number of times attacked. At the time when Blood Archer is surrounded by dense attacks, it is easy to break through this 200 consecutive attack number, so it is said that this is a setting set up to limit the excessive players who bully the few. Normally, when fighting Blood Archer, one would definitely pay attention. It is just a consecutive attack. Actually, it was easier to interrupt it than to create a chain attack. But that Lord Grimm deliberately commanded the team to launch a chain attack of 200, and at the same time, the 3 great guilds were surrounding, clearly intentionally creating a frenzy that entangled the 3 great guilds. The purpose, of course, was still for the Blood Archer. But at this moment, where was the Blood Archer? The hatred of the Blood Archer would not change because of the frenzy. It was still on Lord Grimm. After the frenzy, it immediately fired fiercely, shooting Lord Grimm into a white smoke on the spot. The players of the 3 great guilds all felt unhappy when they saw it. This person who was shot was just a clone of Lord Grimm. Where was the real Lord Grimm? After the clone disappeared, it was the gunner group's flying gun technique, flying backwards and sliding away for a while. Blood Gunner was determined to chase after them. The players of the three great guilds were surrounded by the undead army. At this time, the snail couldn't even carry its shell. How could it stop them anymore? The group of three of the rookie ruffian were all scared stiff at this moment. They were excitedly running back to prepare to enter the group to receive the reward. But who would have thought that one incident after another would occur? The three of them watched helplessly as their two teammates were instantly torn into pieces by the undead army. The three of them hurriedly stopped. They finally knew what danger Lord Grimm was talking about. Then they saw Lord Grimm's flying gun jumping out, followed by Blood Gunner at an astonishing speed. The three of them didn't know what to do. They didn't know if Lord Grimm was running for his life or what he was planning to do. They suddenly saw a command in the team channel. Go. Where to go? The three of them asked. Find a hidden place to kill the boss. Yi Xiu said. The three of them turned around and ran away in confusion. This way. Yi Xiu pointed to the direction. The three major guilds all saw it, but unfortunately, they couldn't separate them. Everyone was furious. That guy took Blood Archer away. Everyone was still making noise. Lan He was also about to die of anger, sending a message to Lord Grimm. Brother, you're really unkind. At this time, Lord Grimm was running away, occasionally stopping to knock down Blood Archer who was chasing after him, but instead had time to reply to Lan He. What's wrong? Yi Xiu replied. What's wrong? Lan He was furious when he read the message and was about to respond, when he suddenly realized he didn't know what to say. That's right, what's wrong? What did they do? They just set a trap to take Blood Archer away. Could it be that this was unkind? There was no such thing in Glory. Boss Wild Map has always been a fight, but normally it was the three big guilds that robbed each other. Could it be that today it was robbed by someone who is not from the three big guilds, and it would be unlucky? Lan He was speechless. Besides him, Yue Yong also sent a message. You are very unique. Haha, Yi Xiu replied. But don't be too complacent. With just the few of you, you can kill Blood Archer before we kill all these trash? You think we can't find you if you run too far? Yue Yong replied. Then you guys have to hurry. Yi Xiu replied with a smile, taking a deep breath of smoke. Where are we going? The rookie ruffian beside him asked Lord Grimm. Before Yi Xiu could answer, the other guy shouted. Aya, someone is running towards us. Don't worry, give me the captain. Yi Xiu said. The rookie ruffian, without thinking, transferred the captain to Lord Grimm. The system announced, player Tian Qi joins the team. Player Qian Sheng Li joins the team. Player Mu Yun Shun joins the team. Player Yu Zhong Min joins the team. Player Shin Yu joins the team. Kill. Yi Xiu roared loudly. The three rookie ruffians stared with their eyes and mouths wide open as they watched the group of people charge forward. Some shouted, Great God. Some shouted, Big Brother Expert. And some didn't say anything, and all charged forward to attack Blood Archer. Chapter 67, Acceleration. Big Brother Expert, you are so righteous. Tian Qi and the others rushed forward while getting excited. You guys are really bold. Yi Xiu laughed. He had already let these people know the situation. This was pulling out a tiger's tooth. Whether the three big guilds would give up or not, he didn't know. In the end, these people didn't suspect anything. They came really fast. Even that little girl Xinyu also came. But this new ghost girl most likely didn't know the truth and blindly ran over to join in the fun. What's there to be afraid of? Yu Zhongmin shouted, talking very enthusiastically. This guy didn't come online yesterday. His level dropped a bit. He worked hard all day, barely reaching level 21. This is the person you called? The three rookie ruffians were still standing to the side in a daze. That's right. Yu Xiu replied. When? The rookie ruffian asked. When you guys added me to the team? Yu Xiu said. Did you already have a plan at that time? The three people were frightened, thinking deeply. Yu Xiu smiled, not saying anything more, and began to command everyone's position and coordination skills, even instructing them on how to prepare medicine. Every medicine has a freezing time, how to use it to maximize its effectiveness to help you fight continuously. This was also a subject that needed to be learned. At this moment, it looked like 9 people were fighting monsters together, but in reality, the other 8 people were like wooden puppets, acting according to Yu Xiu's orders. At the beginning, he was still clumsy. After all, Yu Xiu only had a mouth, and it was impossible for him to give out 8 orders at once. After a while of fighting, although Tian Qi and the others were not considered experts, they were veterans and basically knew what to do. The group of rookies and hooligans gradually became more mature. Yushio carefully observed each person's attack ability, calculating whether he could take care of the Blood Archer before the three major guilds finished clearing the undead army. He quickly came to a conclusion. It would definitely not be good for a fool to keep fighting here. Thus, he began to adjust his strategy, widening the distance. Blood Archer was like a goat. Being slashed and chased, his health was dropping rapidly, very miserable. At this time, Yushio naturally wouldn't use 200 consecutive attacks to bring trouble upon himself, but going berserk when he had 10% health left was unavoidable. However, this didn't pose any difficulty for Yushio. Blood Archer's health was dropping rapidly. Yushio assessed the time on both sides. The three guilds were almost there, but Blood Archer's health was still 20%. They were chasing and killing while chasing, although they had increased the distance. But time was still extremely urgent. Yushio turned his gaze to the group of people who were chasing and killing to take a look. The Maikot area was empty with no cover. Nothing was missing. In the distance, there were many players starting to charge towards their location. The three guilds had indeed finished dealing with it. Their attack ability had already been commanded to the limit by Yushio. Unless they had high-level weapons and equipment to put on them, then maybe. But this was obviously impossible, or... Big Brother expert. They're here? Tianchi suddenly said, of course also paying attention to the fact that there was not enough time. Well, we have to speed up urgently. Yushio said. Things had come to this point where they couldn't help but take a gamble. How do we do it? The 8 people asked. Raise your hand speed. Everyone must pay attention. Yushio said. The only way right now was to raise your hand speed. Yushio himself naturally had no problem. In order to cooperate with everyone, he had deliberately controlled his hand speed to be lower. But now, in a short time, the Blood Archer must be dealt with. The whole team's tempo must be faster. There are quite a few new players in the team, so this is quite difficult. But there is no other way. Hand speed cannot increase the character's attack speed. The character's attack speed is determined by the profession and equipment. It is a fixed number. The thing that hand speed can increase is the operation speed. The operation is fast. The attack is also fast. The character moves, rolls, attacks, etc. Every movement will change faster. What Yushio wants the whole team to improve is the operation speed, the effective hand speed. The screen shows 2 points, A and B, requesting to move the cursor from A to B. The ability of a professional player is to be able to use the fastest hand speed to move the cursor from A to B, stopping accurately at B. As for normal players, in order to stop accurately at B, they have to slow down their hand speed, slow down the speed of moving the mouse cursor. Forced acceleration, point B could not be aimed accurately. Either it did not reach, or it moved too far. In short, it lost the best effect. But at this time, Yushio no longer cared about this. Fortunately, they did not need to improve too much. After all, it was impossible to make everyone reach the hand speed of a professional expert immediately. Yushio calculated that this rhythm, increasing it by about 20% would be fine. According to his observations, there were currently a few people who were more than capable of this rhythm, such as Tianchi and Yu Zhangmian. Increasing it by 20% was not a big problem for them. The 2 people, Mu Yunshin and Qianshinli, were quite disciplined, suddenly increasing the speed. It depended on how focused they were. As for the 4 newcomers, Yushio did not expect Xinyu at all. This girl was currently trying her best and had already made mistakes many times. The rookie hooligan surprised Yushio quite a bit, although he was the first to be confused, but his hand speed seemed to be quite talented. Following his command, it was extremely timely, not missing a beat. The remaining 2 people, compared to Xinyu, were better but not as good as that rookie hooligan friend. Desperate. Speed up, Yushio shouted. His hands were the first to be quick. As soon as he gave the signal, the others had to cooperate quickly. The result was as he had expected. Tianchi and Yu Zhangmian quickly caught up. Mu Yunshin's problem wasn't too big, but Qin Xingli reacted slowly, half a beat behind. Xinyu was already, oh my, the rookie hooligan surprised Yushio for the second time. His attacks were accurate enough to be comparable to Tianchi and Yu Zhangmian. The remaining 2 friends were flustered. Their attacks were intermittent and intermittent. Don't be in a hurry, focus. Yushio looked around, except for Xinyu who couldn't help at all. Qin Xingli and the other 2 friends could still contribute a little. No way. Xinyu was flustered, his attacks all missed. Xinyu, attack yourself. Once the freeze is over, quickly press use. Xinyu had a low level, and had even switched to a profession that required high operating skills like an assassin. An assassin who wasn't fast was the most fun to PK. This famous saying in Glory expressed that a slow assassin was a tragedy, piking was a casual bullying. Shinyu was a tragedy, directly ignored by Yishio. The cooperation of the other 7 people made Yishio feel happy. Qi and Xingli had caught up quickly. The remaining 2 weren't as flustered as when they first increased their speed, sometimes making mistakes but were promptly rescued by Yishio. They increased their hand speed by 20%. Yishio really exploded at 200% to save the day. If Chingguo stood behind Yishio, he would definitely swallow the 3 words, crippled party, back. Right now, Yishio's hand speed was at least 160. If his hand was crippled, Chingguo would be a cripple. Hurry! 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 Tianqi shouted loudly and remembered it as a slogan. The more he shouted, the faster his hand speed became. Not only he but everyone else was affected, but his increase was very small. Everyone just kept catching up. Yishio also noticed. It was truly an unexpected joy. Then the winning rate would be even higher. It's almost blood red. Tianqi suddenly shouted. Chapter 68, Defeating the First Blood Archer. Yishio's movements were also very quick, directly transferring the team leader to Tianqi. Get out. Tianqi and the others were all veterans. They had not killed the Blood Archer, but having heard the information about the Blood Archer, they knew what would happen when this boss went berserk, so they immediately broke away and retreated. The awareness of the 3 newbie hooligans was also quite high now. They did not ask any more questions, listened to orders, and did their work, and also turned around and walked away. Yishio naturally understood better than Tianqi. There was no need for him to remind them. When the 8 Tianqi people all left the Blood Archer's hatred range, Yishio exploded with hand speed. Lord Grimm's battle spear unleashed several dazzling skills. Blood Archer's health bar was instantly reduced to 10%. Ha 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 ha. Blood Archer started to emit a red light again, roaring to summon, but the players had already prepared for it. The hatred range was only 1 person, but it wasn't the team leader. The boss's trick was exposed. Of course, it would be unintentionally toyed with by the players. What Yishio needed to do now was to control Blood Archer, making it so that the summoning time wouldn't reach the other members. This was as easy as eating candy for Yishio. After Blood Archer was summoned, a lone skeleton appeared beside him, looking so weak. Tianqi and the others didn't move. They only looked at the instructions for attacking Blood Archer. Even though they had a guild, they also participated in this kind of wild boss, but it didn't go through this stage of the ultimate move. Blood Archer's berserk summoning was over. Could it be that he could continue to attack and kill him? The group was not very clear. Kill. Until they heard Lord Grimm's command. The 8 people ran like crazy back to continue killing him. Blood Archer's summoned guards were instantly smashed into pieces. Who told him to be so lonely? The siege continued. Didn't Blood Archer have another summoning? Tianqi asked. Yeah, 5% still has one more time, and there's also a chaos shot before he dies. Yishio said. The boss is really despicable. Level 26 already has chaos shot. Tianqi said. Everyone pay attention to dodge. The critical rate of the final chaos shot is very high. Most of them will definitely die. Yishio said. How can you escape from chaos shot? Yu Zhongmian asked. For you, then, run a little further away. Yishio replied. Fuck. Obviously, with the favorable situation, the high-level people could see that they could take care of the Blood Archer in time, so the conversation became more comfortable. When they had 5% HP left, the 8 people once again escaped from the range of hatred. Blood Archer summoned a lone zombie, instantly crushed by someone. The players from the 3 major guilds bared their fangs and brandished their claws, and Yishio received news from Yi Weiyang again, that Brat was still there smugly. Ha ha ha, still working hard? Too hard. Why don't you join our guild now? Yishio didn't care, at the crucial moment, caring about killing the boss. That was the truth. The 3 major guilds approached. Blood Archer still had a little HP left. Tianqi and the others were a bit anxious. It seemed like they couldn't make it in time. Their predictions were not as confident as Yishio. Clank, clack, clack, clack. The sound of the 3 guilds' archers loading their guns could be heard by everyone's ears. Spread out. Yishio suddenly shouted. Tianqi and the others did not turn around and retreated from the scene. The 3 major guilds instinctively stopped their steps when they saw this scene. Fuck it again. Someone shouted. How could there be such a coincidence? Someone did not believe it. Follow me, team. He decisively and fluently handed over the group leader to another team and brought the most elite team of 10 people to charge forward. The overbearing scheme in the central grass hall also made the same decision. Both teams of 10 people charged forward. This way, even if the blood archers were to go berserk, they would only summon the three groups of people to run like crazy. They were competing with each other, and in the blink of an eye, they ignored the existence of the blood archers. This was a kind of habit. Each family sends out 3 people to deal with those guys. Lonnie shouted. They couldn't let this group continue to exist. Even if they didn't kill them, they had to at least make them get out of the state of fighting with blood archer. Only then could they eliminate all the damage they had inflicted so far. As for Lord Grimm, Lonnie felt quite regretful. If they didn't cooperate, this time it would really not be easy. He was a bit hesitant. On the other side, the leader of the overbearing schemes also spoke up and sent out 3 people. He looked towards the central grass hall again. The people had also come out, but he didn't see Xianzi. Where is Xianzi? He asked. The people from the central grass hall were extremely embarrassed. It's dead. It's dead. He was surprised, then laughed loudly, laughing until his stomach hurt. The undead army was summoned in an instant. The situation was chaotic. It wasn't surprising that anyone would die. But Xianzi's level wasn't low, and his equipment wasn't bad either. At least he could hold out longer than many people. But in the end he died before he could even hold out. One could imagine how miserable and helpless he was at that time. Lonnie laughed loudly, making the people from Zhong Chaotang really upset. But even more upset was behind him. What are you laughing about? On the other side, Yidu Handan of the overbearing scheme asked. Xianzi died. Lonnie said. Really? Congratulations. Yidu Handan was quite calm. Let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. Lonnie said. The people from Zhong Chaotang coughed up blood. At this time, the people near the blood archer simultaneously heard Lord Grimm shout. Everyone be careful. Lonnie was still immersed in joy when he heard that Xianzi died, and happily said, Brother, don't worry, we can handle it. That's good. Yishio laughed. That's not right. Tian Cheng suddenly shouted. This guy who specializes in robbing monsters for fun always has a natural intuition for the amount of health of monsters. At this moment before completely approaching, he already had a strange premonition. What's wrong? He asked. May. Blood Archer flashed red light again and started to roar. Moreover, at this time, he also started to pose. In a neutral stance, both hands crossed in front of his chest, his left hand pulling his right hand that was holding the gun. Oh shit, chaos shooting. The experts also collapsed. Chaos shooting started. Blood Archer's mouth kept screaming. His right hand holding the gun gradually became a blurry shadow. Countless bullets seemed to fly out at the same time, shooting in all directions. Although the gun in his hand was a revolver, the number of bullets fired was more than 6. Moreover, he didn't bring a magazine to replace it. This was that skill. The players from the 3 guilds who were charging forward were shot and ran away for their lives. At that moment, 3 people died. The distance was too close. The bullets were too fast. There was no time to dodge. Squatting, lying down, writhing and twisting, everyone did not care about their image, only praying for their lives. But the one who was hit by the bullet was Junimo Shao, yet everyone still only saw a light smoke. It was a clone again. This time the real person appeared not in a 360-degree position, but in the air. Junimo Shao landed, also using the wrestling system's eagle tread skill, crushing the top of Blood Archer's head. 1 kick, 2 kicks. The battle spear was raised, the Yuan Wu staff in the air. Blood Archer's rampage was in the Overlord body state, but the Yuan Wu staff was a skill that did not care about the Overlord body state. The battle spear hooked Blood Archer and drew a large 270-degree crescent. Junimo Shao fell to the ground, both hands fiercely pinning the battle spear to the ground. Blood Archer was pressed under the spear. The Overlord body stopped. The experts of the 3 guilds felt like just picked up his life. On the other side, Lord Grimm also had Heavenly Strike, Dragon Tooth and Falling Flower. Blood Archer finally let out a miserable cry. System announcement. Tian Chi, Lord Grimm, Steam Bun Invasion, Mu Hua, Liang Liang Bacteria, Mu Yunshin, Yu Zhongmin, Qian Shengli. Jinyu had defeated the first Blood Archer. The 3 major guilds had ashen faces. Yishio sent a message to the team. Leave the blood rifle to me. The rest is up to you. Chapter 69. If you chase any longer, I won't give in. Well, before Yishio knew if he could get the blood rifle, he suddenly heard a series of exclamations. Even Guo, who was concentrating on hitting the mouse in front of the counter, was startled by this noise. Many customers of the Happy Internet Cafe stood up and looked over together, and quite a few people threw down their games and ran over. "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Chinguo asked everyone as he jumped out of the counter. Junemo shouted the lead again. A customer said excitedly. "He took it. So why are you so excited?" Chinguo was speechless and finally asked, "Take the lead of what?" "Blood Archer." The other party said. "Boss Wild Map." Chinguo was shocked. Taking the lead of this thing was even harder than the dungeon. She had witnessed the entire process of a wild map boss hunt. The big guilds were killing until the smoke was everywhere, fighting the boss while secretly harming each other. The viewers were all confused whether this was a boss kill or a great war between guilds. In such large-scale battles, a weak guild was not qualified to participate. It was suicide. Players without a guild couldn't even dream of it. Although Blood Archer was only a low-level boss, that was the style of the game. It had nothing to do with high or low. Chinguo and a group of people rushed to Yushio's computer, and as a result, they heard Yushio cowardly shouting, "Run, run, run, run quickly." The mocking voices filled the air. This command seemed a bit strange. It seemed like this unboxing really had a problem. As a result, a new player in Zone 10 had gotten wind of the news, gossiping with everyone. "I heard they robbed those 3 big guilds." "Oh my god, is that really that bad?" Everyone was shocked, suddenly feeling that even if they shouted, "Run, run, run," it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't affect this person's previous brave and intelligent image. Everyone simultaneously stared at Yushio's screen, only to see the character desperately running like the wind, occasionally turning his neck to look behind, so everyone could see the large group of pursuers behind him. It was indeed a player from all 3 major guilds. It's really not easy to capture the boss. Everyone looked pitiful. "Are there any people from the 3 major guilds here?" Someone suddenly asked with an itchy mouth. No one spoke. If there were, it would be so annoying. Someone teased. "Boss, quickly check if she's fainted in front of the computer. Call 120 now." Someone saw Chinguo and teased. Chinguo didn't say a word. Many people didn't say a word either. These people were all speechless as they stared at the screen, wanting to know if Yushio could finally escape from danger. The 3 major guilds were not easy to provoke. At this time, he was only level 20 and had offended all 3 major guilds in one go. Some people didn't think that this was bravery or intelligence. They thought that this was just playing dumb. What would be the fate of this idiot? This was what they were concerned about. Chinguo? Perhaps she was the only one who didn't have the mood to watch the excitement. Seeing Yushio there typing on the keyboard and running like crazy, she felt worried for him. "Everyone run ahead. I'll hold on." Suddenly everyone saw Yushio quickly type a sentence into the team channel. "Oh, a real man." Everyone praised. Through the screen they could see Yushio's teammates. The other 8 were much faster than him. No one knew how this situation was created. Junemo Shao turned around, but as soon as he turned around, 4 people caught up behind him. The spear swept across the sky. The 4 people clearly did not expect that Lord Grimm would suddenly stop and counterattack, unable to avoid this attack. Then, Lord Grimm jumped up slightly, drew his sword and swung down the silver light falling ring in the sky. The shockwave just happened to hit the 4 people. "What a fast move!" Someone watching exclaimed. This silver light falling ring skill had to be used by jumping into the air. Lord Grimm had just lightly jumped up a small step, and the move was already done, making it almost impossible to see the process of the blade light falling down. Of the 4 players, 3 fell to the ground. The remaining one only successfully used a bare body, rolling forward to avoid this landing. When he stood up, he swung out a heavenly strike. Heavenly City, as expected of a master. Although bare body was just a basic move, it was not easy to completely control it. The other 3 players might not have thought of using the bare body in the blink of an eye, but either because June Grimm used the silver light falling ring too quickly, or because they didn't grasp the best timing, so they obviously failed. Only Tian Qing, not only did he successfully avoid falling to the ground, he also successfully counterattacked. But the heavenly strike had not finished yet, and was immediately kicked by June Grimm, rolling on the ground. Break attack. Break attack was also a type of decisive attack, like a series of strikes chasing in the air, attacking from behind. Break move, as the name implies, interrupting the opponent's attack, was called a break move. At this time, although Tian Chung had used the heavenly strike, it was still broken by June Grimm's kick, forming a break attack. Ha 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 ha. When sparks flew out of the gun barrel, the audience behind Yushio all laughed loudly at the fact that Tian Chung was trampled. But several skilled players couldn't laugh. The silver light falling ring was like that. As for the successful Chiyu then, Tianqing was not a weak person. He followed suit and rolled forward to use the move Heaven Strike, which was already a counterattack with extremely fast reaction, but the result was still blocked. This Lord Grimm's level was even higher. If it were me, what would happen? Many people thought of this and couldn't laugh anymore. The 4 people who rushed forward were instantly beaten to the ground. All 4 were combat mages, relying on the attributeless illusory mark to increase their movement speed to be ahead of the others. If not for the new characters of the newly opened area, without any additional attribute equipment, their movement speed was all at the same level. Although the 4 people were lying on their butts, Lord Grimm didn't take the opportunity to kill them. Everyone could see clearly, at this moment, Lord Grimm had no mana left. If you continue chasing, I won't give in anymore. Lord Grimm suddenly squatted down, as if close to Tianqing's ear. Everyone heard Yushio say this sentence. The audience chuckled. Seizing the opportunity, mana was gone, clearly trying to scare people. Lord Grimm stood up and continued running. The audience was anxious, all wanting to know if the 4 people were chasing after him, but Lord Grimm didn't turn around. Everyone knew that Yushio was wearing headphones. More or less they could still hear the footsteps behind them. Seeing him so leisurely, it seemed that those people were really scared. Still not scared? No matter how strong Lord Grimm was, they were more knowledgeable than the crowd watching in the internet cafe. The 3 people who charged forward were easily defeated. The person with a slightly higher level who could fight back was Tianqing, who was also trampled to the ground. How could the 4 of them dare to continue chasing to their deaths? They could only wait until there were more people and then advance together. Catch up. Lon, he deliberately sent a message at this time. Tianqing replied in a depressed tone. Catch up, can't beat them. Then, retreat first. Lon, he sent a message. Tianqing watched Lord Grimm running further and further away, not moving at all. And 3 players of the same profession as him were standing beside him, reacting just like him. Chapter 70, Reconstruction and Upgrade. The people from the 3 major guilds finally stopped chasing after him. After Yushio let out a sigh, he took off his headphones and looked back. He had long since sensed all sorts of human auras behind him. Brother, too fierce. Everyone praised him. Yushio smiled. Lucky, lucky. What did you drop? Someone asked curiously. I got the blood rifle. Yushio said. After Yushio saw this item drop, he immediately called out its name. Tianqi and the others were quite knowledgeable after all. They naturally wouldn't compete with the Big Brother experts. But the problem was with those 3 newcomers. The equipment in Glory wasn't fixed. No matter what equipment you couldn't use, you could sell it back if you obtained it. Therefore, the wild teams and the map-breaking teams in Glory were always chaotic. If you had a need for equipment, the wild teams were definitely not a good choice. If you have a need, find a guild, find a close friend. When forming a team, priority will always be considered based on profession. Wild teams, that is just a place to gain experience and earn money. Therefore, after Tianqi and the others heard Yushio's request, although they had not rolled the dice, they did not choose to ignore it. They wanted to test the attitude of those 3 strangers. If one of the 3 rolled a point, they would also take the retreat as an advance to roll the dice once, helping the big boss expert take the item back. They had more people, so the chance was still greater. However, they had indeed thought too much. The other 3 quickly ignored the blood rifle. After the Tianqi group passed by one, the blood rifle finally fell into Lord Grimm's pocket. Before everyone had time to look closely at the other things, the big boss here urged them to run, run, run. Everyone rolled the dice randomly, not even paying attention to the items that fell into their hands before they escaped. This kind of wild boss that could only be hunted 3 times a week dropped quite a lot of equipment. Just now, only the green items dropped 4 items in one go. All of them were level 25 items. Actually, this was due to bad luck. Even the wild boss had a chance to drop orange items. However, if compared, taking the lead made people feel even more awesome. Looking at the 3 big guilds' furious looks, how could it be just because someone robbed them of 4 pieces of equipment? At this moment, the Tianqi group couldn't stop admiring their names hanging on the board. They were so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. Where was Yushio? He was also surrounded by onlookers, but he could only escape to respond with a few sentences. Everyone wasn't too friendly. They chatted for a while, and seeing that there was no more interesting things to watch, they all dispersed. Only Chunguo was still standing there. Boss. Yi Xiao greeted him, looked at the time, and quickly hung up. I'm going to the counter now. It was almost 11 o'clock. It was his turn to be on night duty. Chunguo looked at Yi Xiao's appearance and was embarrassed to say that she really wasn't here to remind him to change shifts, but to join the gossiping group. At 11 o'clock, the internet cafe was suddenly extremely deserted, and quite a few people who had just surrounded Yi Xiao to watch the excitement also immediately hung up and left. Although the new glory area's fever was still there, everyone still needed to study. There was still work. There weren't many people who were free enough to play games all night. Ever since the staff changed shifts and left, Chunguo felt that the internet cafe was even more deserted. Only Yi Xiao was left sitting alone at the front counter. Chunguo went over to take a look. This guy was playing games again. So despicable. A deadbeat party member who stayed home and played games all day. Chunguo looked disdainful as he walked to another corner of the internet cafe. Seeing that, Tang Rou was also pressing her face against the computer, concentrating on playing the game. The light was now hidden and now reflected on her face. Tang Rou did not blink at all. Chunguo walked forward, seeing that Tang Rou was still trying to complete the mission. This girl seemed unlucky. It was the peak time of the night. Completing the mission could be called extremely hard. Now that the number of people online had decreased, the situation was better. Doing it was quite enjoyable. Chunguo patted her. Tang Rou turned her head, looked at Chunguo, and asked loudly, "What's wrong?" Chunguo took off her earphones. 11 o'clock. It's already 11 o'clock? I don't know anything. Tang Rou was surprised. What level? Chunguo asked. Level 6. Because it was peak time, Tang Rou was really not able to level up quickly based on the mission. Still not going to bed? Chunguo said. You go first. I'll go later. Tang Rou put on her earphones and returned to the game world. You go first, I'll go to bed early. Chunguo finished speaking, but Tang Rou didn't react at all. Obviously, she had her headphones on, so she didn't hear Chunguo's conversation. Chunguo left in a daze. She was originally the only one who loved glory the most in the internet cafe. Suddenly, a Yi Xiao and a Tang Rou were brought over. Seeing these two people playing crazily, she had become very unprofessional. Chunguo was lost in thought, but she continued to go back to her room on the second floor to rest first. There really wasn't anyone idle in the internet cafe anymore. Everyone was focused on playing games in their own seats. After Yi Xiao got back into the game, Tianqi and the others quickly sent over questions. Seeing the big boss suddenly log out of the game, they all thought something had happened. Nothing. I'm fine, but everyone has to be careful. Yi Xiao replied to everyone. Ignore him. Tianqi and the others didn't even bother to look at him. To tell the truth, everyone's courage was related to Yi Xiao. Previously, they worshipped the masters of the three major guilds like gods, but after following Yi Xiao around a few times, they discovered that their previous vision was too low. Compared to the masters of the Big Brother, how could those guys have the qualifications to call themselves gods? Now, following the masters of the Big Brother to successfully rob the boss of the three major guilds, these guys naturally felt like they were crushing the three major guilds under their feet. The joy in their hearts far exceeded their worries. As for Chunyu, the Steam Buns invasion group, and the New Devils were completely unaware of the pros and cons, and they were only happy when they received the equipment just now. I'll go back to town first. Yi Xiao told everyone. Hey, masters of the Big Brother, take your time. Everyone hurriedly replied. Everyone pay attention. After Yi Xiao reminded everyone again, he controlled Lord Grimm to run back to Bulsi Town. In the small town, it was a safe area, unable to withstand any attacks. Yi Xiao felt at ease and threw Lord Grimm in a corner, opening the equipment editing system. He put the blood-colored rifle he had just obtained directly into the equipment editing system. These 2 days of collecting materials went very smoothly. The heavenly umbrella already had a few upgradable parts. After the structure drawing was opened, from the shape of the umbrella face that was spreading out, Yi Xiao began to carefully disassemble the umbrella face. This umbrella face had a total of 8 pieces, continuously strung between the umbrella ribs to form the entire umbrella face. He randomly picked a piece to put into the restoration frame. In the adjacent material box, Yi Xiao clicked on the 5 strong spider webs. The restoration process began. The progress bar ran out. the 5 strong spider webs had woven into the shape of the umbrella face. Then, he repeated the restoration 7 times. The umbrella face was successfully crafted from 8 times the reinforced spider silk. The new umbrella face was reassembled, followed by the gun parts and the sword hilt. The umbrella handle was then taken down, divided into 2 parts, the handle and the sword hidden in the handle. Both were restored from the original mold. Restoring the umbrella handle, the materials added were the blood-colored rifle and the sword sheath from the Bone Warrior's sword hilt. The sword hilt, using the Bone Warrior's sword hilt. Clicking Restore, completed, and then carefully installing the new parts onto the heavenly umbrella. During the entire process, Yishio was extremely meticulous and thoughtful. It didn't seem difficult at all, other than removing and installing. It was just a matter of clicking Restore. However, if there wasn't the original mold of the heavenly umbrella, where could the restore function come from?